Hey everyone, it's Plumioux here and welcome back to my channel for a brand new video, this time for a special StrangerVille collab with two of my very good friends, OshinSims and Simfan923. So with the recent release of The Sims 4 StrangerVille, we wanted to dial it back a little bit all the way to The Sims 2 Strangetown, and we each picked pre-made families from that town to bring over to StrangerVille. So I picked the Spectre family, which consists of Olive Spectre, who we are working on now, and her niece Ophelia. So with Olive Spectre, I would go as far as to say that she is the OG Black Widow of the Sims franchise. You see, Olive is a many-time widow and her husbands include Euthanasia, Rigor Mortis, and Ichabod Spectre. And then as well, she was also left at the altar by Earl E. Demise, who died soon thereafter. So if that is not the makings of a Black Widow, I don't know what is. But looking at Olive Spectre, you wouldn't think that she would harm a fly. She looks like this sweet old granny, and maybe that's how she hooks all these husbands, and then they end up dead. And speaking of death, Olive Spectre actually had a romance in The Sims 2 with none other than the Grim Reaper, and from that union, it is said that her son, Nervous Subject, was born. Now, when you first start The Sims 2 Strangetown, Nervous Subject actually doesn't live with Olive and Ophelia. He was taken away by the social worker, and now he lives with the Beaker family. So there's some mystery surrounding there, but literally, death follows and touches Olive Spectre no matter where she goes. And when you first start up the Spectre household in The Sims 2, you will find Olive and Ophelia inside their large old Victorian mansion, but it gets a little bit creepy when you go outside because on this lot there is also a graveyard, and in said graveyard is buried all of Olive's old husbands. All of the men that made her a widow or that she made herself a widow by killing are buried on her home plot in a home graveyard. And even creepier still, in that graveyard there is a living chair that sits at the top of it, and it's kind of like Olive can go and sit in that and make sure that none of her husbands come out of the grave. But that is just so creepy, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, let's recap. We've got this sweet old innocent looking granny who kills Sim men and then buries them in her own backyard so that she can sit at the top of it and look over them night after night. And not only that, this sweet old granny brown chicken brown cowed with the Grim Reaper. I mean, this is just death personified right here. And so there is so much mystery surrounding Olive Spectre that I thought she would make a perfect townie for StrangerVille. Now, in order to get Olive's traits and aspiration into The Sims 4 from The Sims 2, I had a look at her personality and her interests, so I made Olive a serial romancer. That doesn't need a lot of explanation, but you know, she's a many-time widow. But then also on the flip side of that, I gave her the trait of non-committal because all of her husbands end up dead, so she can't be that committed to them, especially if she's the one doing the killing. And then I also made her neat, because again, if she is a Black Widow and she is killing these men, she's got to be neat enough to clean up the crime scene and not leave a speck of blood, dirt, dust, or fingerprints behind. And then her final trait that I gave her was materialistic, because Olive is quite rich and no one really knows where her wealth comes from. But we are almost to the end where I'm going to show off all of her outfits one last time, and then we are going to move on to Olive's niece, Ophelia. As we move on to Ophelia Nigmos, another thing that I would like to say about this collab is that it is actually CC free, which was a struggle for the three of us because we love our skin details, we love our eyelashes, and Jordy especially loves his alpha custom content. But if we're gonna bring OG Sims 2 townies over to Sims 4, we better stick with EA content. So you'll be able to find the Spectre family on my gallery. My gallery ID is Plumioux in case you would like to plop them down in StrangerVille and continue on the mystery from Strangetown. Now back to Strangetown and The Sims 2. With Ophelia, there is a little bit of mystery that surrounds her in that her parents, Creon and Willow, are buried in the Olive Spectre backyard graveyard, and they died early deaths from drowning. Now, Creon was very suspicious of his sister-in-law Olive, and I feel like some of that suspiciousness has carried on down to Ophelia. She's a little bit of a worrywart, and she worries about little things, and she's always fretting. I mean, I'd be fretting too if everybody around me was talking about how my aunt was a murderer. Now, with Ophelia, she's characterized as having blonde hair and braids. She wears a gray tank top with a tie, blue jeans, and colored shoes. Now, from that description, I took it to be that Ophelia is a little bit of a tomboy, so you'll see that reflected in her outfits. She's also going steady with Johnny Smith, and she is friends with Rip Grunt. And if you have universities installed in The Sims 2, Ophelia will qualify for 2 scholarships, the Orphaned Sims Assistance Fund and the Sims City Scholars Grant. With Ophelia, I feel like there's not a lot of mystery surrounding her personal backstory. All of that comes into play when you look at Olive Spectre and the Spectre family as a whole. It seems like Ophelia is just more caught up in it. I mean, yes, her parents did meet an early demise by drowning and are buried in her aunt's personal cemetery, and yes, she does live with a suspected serial killer, but other than that, Ophelia is your average typical teenager, if you can even say that with a straight face. I live with a serial killer, but yeah, I'm totally normal. She's going steady with somebody, she's got friends, and she could be headed off to university soon. I don't know what's more typical or average than that. But as I did with Olive Spectre, with Ophelia, I had a look at her personality traits as well as her interests in order to bring that over to The Sims 4 from The Sims 2. And so for her aspiration, I gave her outdoor enthusiast, and then her traits are slob, which is the complete opposite of her aunt Olive, and hopefully doesn't earn her a place in the cemetery, as well as outgoing because she is very, very friendly in The Sims 2. And the last thing that I want to say before I start wrapping this up is that if you look at The Sims 2 Strangetown, the team got dark. I mean, you only have to look at Olive Spectre to know that. You've got this old granny who has been married several times, has been widowed several times over, has probably killed all those men, and then sits in her own personal cemetery waiting to see if any of her exes are going to come out and haunt her. It's like, honey, who hurt you? And then you've got Ophelia, who is just this teenager who begrudgingly has to go and live with this crazy old aunt of hers because her parents have died, and so she's basically caught up in all of this. It doesn't get any crazier, darker than that, and that's why I think the Specters would be perfect to go from Strangetown to Strangerville. But as we finish off Ophelia's outfits, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Love you and leave you guys with some music for the rest of the video. Make sure you go and check out OshinSims and Simfan923's portion of this collab. I will be linking their videos as well as their channels down below in the description. Guys, go and show them some love. They deserve all the support in the world. They are such amazing creators, and I am such a huge fan of theirs. And if you would like the Spectre family to be running around in your version of Strangerville, make sure to check out my gallery. My gallery ID is Plumioux. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to do all those cool interweb things, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you've got that bell a ding dong so you can be notified whenever I do upload. But for now, I'm gonna skedaddle. Don't be a plum stranger now, guys. Bye!